Welcome back to Messages from Earth. This is a podcast that was created during the quarantine in 2020. These are 27 individual phone calls that were made asking the same question to everyone and put together in a way that made this feel as if we're all in one space, we're all connected during this time of self-isolation. Some of the phone calls do sound like someone is calling from space, so just listen in closely. Today's question is, when is silence better than words?
When you don't know what you are talking about. Like some people are talking like they know everything, but they just Googled it. I tend to go silent when I don't know and I don't want people to have my opinion on certain topics. It's not that I don't want to share it, but I'm not sure it's a valid point of view because I'm not expert at anything.
When there's mutual understanding, so there's some people that you can be around that just understand you and understand that all you need is for them to be present. You don't always need someone to rush in and give advice. Sometimes you just need acknowledgement that someone sees you and understands.
99% of the time. Silence is underrated. Sometimes people speak just for the sake of speaking or just from being involved in a conversation. And when there's silence, you truly find out about yourself. Even this whole thing of being quarantined is a form of silence from the external world. Like you're inside, and people can't deal with it, But me, it's the opposite. I'm almost always searching for silence because there's too much. I want to always cut through the noise. There's too much noise everywhere. I'm chasing silence. Silence for me is a signifier of peace. If I'm silent, it means I'm at peace. It means I don't need to say anything and I don't have anything to say and I'm content with that. So I'm at peace and I'm silent. If you've been silenced or you feel silenced, then find your voice, man. Yeah. But as a general thing, I think the modern day is so chaos. Everything is so noisy that I value silence very, very much so.
At least in my personal life, I experience that silence is better than words. If you know you're going to react and hurt someone, not saying don't say the words, don't shut out your own feelings, but I've found that I regret a lot less the things I say when I take a moment to stop and calm down. And that usually means not saying the first thing that comes into my head. Sometimes that means being quiet for an hour or 2 or 3 or a couple of days in order to cool off. So when our initial reaction is going to hurt someone, I think that's definitely when silence is better than words. Still express yourself, just do it at a better time.
About 80% of the time, you feel me? It depends who I'm talking to, actually, but usually when things get heated, sometimes you just less is more, innit, you feel me? I do believe in saying your piece, though, man. If I'm in a situation I always try and look at it from both angles, you feel me? How's it going to affect the other person? Because then sometimes you may as well not even say anything, man.
It's really hard sometimes, Ash.
Yeah?
It's really hard. Yes. Do you ever find those funny memes where they're that one person that roasts you all the time, but you always have that one roast that you just hold back from saying because it's just going to ruin them. It's just going to break them forever.
So those moments.
It's those moments.
Especially when it comes to showing people how much you care about them. Mm-hmm. You should always do that with certain actions. I mean, you could also tell them, but it's something different when you just do something for them, which shows that you really care about them. And yeah, so I think in those situations, silence is maybe better than just explaining that.
When people don't have nothing nice to say.
When is silence better than words? I think when you need to just shut up, and with everyday life as well.
I guess when you go to a 10-day silent meditation retreat, but then also other times it'd be listening in the ratio of the 2 ears to 1 mouth.
Oh my days. When petty people are trying to like waste your time, I think that's when it's good to be silent, because it's like if you respond and like fight back, you're only just giving them what they wanted. You know, when you come across people that you'd like know as well that like, they're not worth your energy and fighting back, then I think that's when silence is great to have rather than words.
Yeah.
I think when you are sort of like solving conflict, when you know what you're saying is not going to de-escalate a situation but rather escalate it, then better for you to just keep quiet and not say a single word at all. Sometimes you need to think of, if I do react in the situation, if I do speak up, is it going to help the situation or is it going to make it worse? So sometimes silence, in a lot of ways, people think you being silent is you showing weakness, but that is literally the biggest strength you can have in situations, because silence in itself is you saying a whole lot of things without you having to say anything at all.
I suppose when you have nothing to say, for example, you'll see a lot of people who just talk just to fill up silence, you know, and they're not comfortable with there being a silence between people. But also, I suppose, when you're trying to comfort someone as well, because sometimes when someone goes through a loss in their life, it's better to just be present rather than try to fill up the space with words, you know?
When words are not like real or are not like very true, then silence is better.
I would say, like, during work meetings and job interviews, you know, like, don't say things just to say things. Like, oh, yeah, I think that whiteboard's really good. Like, what? Like, what are you saying? I think, you know, if you're under pressure and you want to say something, wait until you have something in mind.
Often online, I think. People will say what they don't mean, or will say what they wouldn't say to your face. And so things can get blown way out of proportion. If someone says something that's quite insulting, it might be best to just stay silent. Maybe even wait for an opportunity to actually talk to them. There are times where you got to read a situation and realize that actually, if you say anything, it's just going to be worse, or it's not going to help. That's a very hard thing to learn. And I don't think you ever truly learn it, but it's something that's worth practicing.
If you really understand your relationships with people, you can have the greatest conversations of your life completely in silence. We've evolved as humanity to kind of fill silence with noise and feel the need to speak at all times. That's one of the worst things we've ever done, because we know our own voices so intimately, but we don't know anyone else's.
That moment, I feel like when you say anything, when someone is angry, throwing words and everyone is frustrated. So in that moment, I think it's definitely better to be silent, because anything you say is just going to exacerbate the situation.
Not talking is usually best when you feel like there's something you should say. My great uncle died recently, and I remember my mom got the news, and I kept feeling like there was some perfect combination of words I could come up with that would make her feel better. And I think truly there was nothing I could have said. The only thing you can do is say I'm sorry and give them a hug, or just be with someone. I think sometimes there's not any combination of words in the world that are going to fix the problem.
But let's say you want to help someone, and that person just doesn't want to be helped at all. Like you can easily get in that drama a lot.
When you can feel anger rising, and you feel like there isn't going to be love in what you're going to say anymore, and it's just, if you feel like what you're saying is going to cause pain, I feel like that's when silence is better than words.
When someone is going through a hard time, you just need to be there, not say anything. Think about what you're about to say. I think it's better in arguments, really. Kind of try and iron things out, because then silence just makes things worse in that case.
if we say like I have an argument with others and then none of you like really break the silence, if you could solve the silence like as soon as possible, or if you talk about it and stuff like that, I think it'll be better.
Silence is better than words quite often at the end of a busy day or at the start of a day, rather than engaging in conversation about what's going to happen or what has happened. And I know people often say, oh, don't sit and stew, and like people go, oh, he's sitting and stewing, go and talk to him. But sometimes you need to take that time to process, to think, and to let silence do its thing.
With that one, I think you just know. It's a situation that you just know. Can't describe it to say, oh, when this happens, or you just know, you just feel it.
That's a hard one for me to answer because I'm one of those people, I don't like silence. If you're in a room and people are talking and suddenly there's silence, I feel like I have to say something. If you don't have anything positive to say about somebody, especially when you're having heated discussions, it's better to just stay silent.
When passions are running so high that you better stop at the moment, let it all settle down. That's when silence is needed, and just let it all kind of calm down. And yeah.
Thank you so much for listening in. I hope you've enjoyed hearing everyone's messages. And if you do have any questions, the podcast has an Instagram at Messages from Earth. And to keep posted on the following episodes, feel free to subscribe. And yeah, until next time, take care, stay safe. Bye.